Hi friends, I'm Jocelyn Peters, the maker and designer behind Mountain Song Designs, and welcome to this knitting tutorial. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 ways to make the double chain cast on. So here we go. First, I'd like to show you, here is my Fall-A-Day cowl, and it uses this cast on, the double chain cast on. You may hear it called the Chinese Waitress Cast On in other places, but I like double chain because it just describes what this cast on is. It's lovely, it looks a bit like an I-cord cast on, and it just makes a really nice way to start a project, and it already looks finished. So let's set this aside, and I'm going to show you my favorite way to make this first. Now, my way might be just a bit different, and I'm going to show you some others that you might see more often. But for mine, I need my working yarn. I'm going to need a crochet hook, and I'm going to use a DPN right now. You can also use a circular needle. You can use straight needles for this. It's just what you need for your project. But let's get started. For now, I just need these. So I'm going to start by making a slip knot. I like to make my slip knots so that when I'm done, I can just pull on this tail because I'm going to be releasing this at the end. Now you don't have to. That's just how I prefer it. Slip knot goes onto the needle. Tighten that up, and there we go. I'm going to tension my yarn, and for the way I like to do this, I like to use a crochet hook. I find it's easier to get the yarn through. You can use a knitting needle, and I'll share that with you, but I like this way. So to do it, the first step is make sure this slip stitch doesn't go anywhere. You're going to hang on to both needle and hook, bring the yarn behind both, around, and in front of both. Then I hold my yarn here, grab it with my hook, and pull it through in the bottom. There it is. I bring my hook back around, and I have my first stitch cast on. Now you'll see I have 2 stitches on my left needle and 1 stitch on my hook. At the end, the hook stitch goes onto the needle and the last stitch gets taken off. So it depends on how you want to count it. The way I usually count my stitches is I just count what's on the needle, and I know that at the end this stitch goes on the needle and this stitch comes off. But we'll get back to that. Let's look at this again. I have my X with my crochet hook under my knitting needle. Hang on to both. Take the working yarn behind, around, and up in front of both. Hold it right here, snug by my hook. Grab it with the hook. Pull through the bottom here, and it's going to come through that chain. And there it is. Turn, and I'm ready to go to the next. Wrap all the way around. Hold it here. I have to kind of transfer my needle back to my left hand. Hook it. Pull through. And get ready to go again. That's all there is to this. Go all the way around. Pull it through. Go all the way around. Pull through. That's all there is to it. I will also mention that my hook is a 5mm, as is my knitting needle. I'm using the same size crochet hook as my knitting needle. Now I'm going to show you 2 other ways to do this. The next one is one that I have seen more online, and it looks the same. I'm going to keep going so you can compare, but here's the second way. You go around behind like we've been doing, but instead of coming over, we're going to go down through and up and around this hook. Then you pull through. The problem is now this stitch is twisted and you have to spin your hook under and around, clockwise, depending on how you look at it, clockwise and around. Regain that tension, go around both, down through the middle, up and around the hook, back down through, pull it through. It's twisted, so I'm going to spin my hook around. Retension, around both, down through, up and around the hook, down back through, pull it through, spin. This one you can't forget to spin. If you do, you're going to end up with spun stitches, twisted stitches, and it's not what you want. One more time, up, down through the middle, up and around, back down through the middle, and pull through, spin it. Okay, so let's look at this. Do you see a difference? I don't see a difference. And you can see our lovely chains back here. I see no difference between the way I started and the way I did it. This one was a bit easier and a bit quicker, and I didn't have to remember to spin my hook. So you pick what you prefer. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this with knitting needles. And I have to tell you, I'm a little awkward because I find this tricky, and you're going to see that firsthand. But now if you're doing it with knitting needles, you have to wrap it the second way that I showed you. So we have to go around, down through, up and around and down. I tried doing this the other way. Trust me, it won't work. So we have it wrapped around. You have to come through here, and then you have to get this stitch over this one. And this is where I struggle with this. I have to get that up and over and make sure that comes back down and that I don't drop that stitch. But it's there. I might want to finagle a little, but it's still twisted. So I have to spin this around. Okay, retention. Let's show this again. Try again. Go around, down through, up and around, down through. Okay, bring it through here. Let's see if I can do it without that needle. Oh man. Oh, I did it. There. Okay. It is so much easier with a hook, but that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes you don't have a hook and you need just to use your needles, and that's okay. It does work. Spin back around. I'll show this one last time. Around both, down through, up and over, down through. Bring that through and bring it on through there. Okay, it is twisted here. On this last stitch, I tend to like it to be a little bit twisted when it goes on this needle. It's up to you. You can either put it straight on, you can untwist, put it on. I'm going to retwist it there, and I'm going to slip that back on there. Okay, so let's look at this. We've done this 3 ways, and it looks the same. No matter how we've done it, it looks the same. So you pick the one you prefer. Now, as I said before, if I was counting the stitches, I would have still had this off on my crochet hook or my other needle. Count my stitches. Then, when I have the right number, I put this on, and it's time to take this off. Now, if you are using a straight needle, you would do this at the very end of knitting across. But since I don't need to wait, if I'm using circulars or DPNs, I like to do it before I do the next step so I don't forget and knit that stitch. So all I have to do is slide these to the other end, slide that one off, and unslip that slip knot. No big deal. Now when you go to knit these, you probably don't want to try knitting in the round on the first round. I would suggest knitting back across, or purling if that's what your pattern calls for. Knitting across just like you would knit anything else. And then after you finish this, the first cast on number of stitches, after you finish knitting across, then if you need to join in the round, that's a good time to do it. So let me finish knitting across here, and show you our edge. Okay, I've reached the edge. I'm gonna pull that just a little snug. I can tighten that up a little bit, and let's look at it. It has this lovely edge. Nice double chain there. Almost looks like an I-cord. And it's a really lovely thing to have. You have 3 different ways to make it. You pick your poison and you go with it. So thank you so much for joining me today to learn the double chain cast on. And I wish you the happiest of knitting. Bye.